Hello friends, my name is Deepak Sharma and I'm a professional speaker, speaking and communication coach. Today is a very special day. You know why? Because today, Toastmasters International have conducted their first ever virtual speech contest very successfully. And we have a brand new world champion of public speaking. Now, when I look at the contest, I'm going through all the speeches. I see champion in every single person because every speaker gave a fantabulous performance. But as they say, there is only one winner in the contest. But from my eyes, every single speaker who reached this world championship stage is obviously a winner, a big winner. To announce, to share the new world champion of public speaking for 2020 is Mike Carr. With his speech title, The Librarian and Mrs. Montgomery. Let's deep dive into his speech and understand how he mastered every piece of this speech to create this masterpiece.
The Librarian and Mrs. Montgomery, Mike Carr.
I was spellbound as I watched the sheriff who had just been shot slide back, open that heavy metal door, stagger forward a couple of steps, look deep into the camera and say, I before E except after C.
As we see, the first 30 seconds of any speech is very important. And the first 10 seconds are even important than that 30 seconds. Look at Mike. For first 3 seconds, he has started his speech from a corner where he's sitting in silence, not even looking at the camera, keeping his hands like this. And then after 3 seconds, his eyes goes wide open and he looked at the camera. Do you know what this process has done? This process has created that curiosity in the mind of audience. And the most important part in any opening, are you able to create that curiosity in the minds of audience? Are they ready to listen to you? Are they thinking what is coming next? And let me tell you, I was thinking what is coming next. The second thing I would like to mention here, the speech title of Mike's speech, The Library and Mrs. Montgomery. Many times we see that the speech title discloses the message of the speech. And here, the speech title doesn't talk about anything what is coming our way. So this is also very important, my friends. Whenever you are preparing for a speech, make sure that your speech title is not disclosing the content of your speech.
Contest chair, fellow Toastmasters, I was in the 6th grade in Mrs. Montgomery's class watching an educational video where a sheriff was teaching us about writing while a bad guy named Bad English was shooting at him. It was on a film projector because we were technology challenged in my school. And as I watched that film, all of a sudden something...
I would like to stop you here to deep dive into this part of the speech. Mike enters into his first story right in the beginning. And he creates a setup, a scene of his 6th grade. He says that he was in the 6th grade. So Mike has mastered his speech like anything. When we are talking about past, we always look at our right. And when we are talking about future, we always look at our left. So he said, I was in my 6th grade. It means he was telling about past. Small thing, but makes huge difference when you're creating a masterpiece. Then he again introduced the main character of the speech, about whom you will get to know more later, Mrs. Montgomery. That by saying, in Mrs. Montgomery class. Then instead of saying that we were watching a movie, he says that we are watching a movie on a projector because we were technological challenged in our school. Look at this whole scene. When you hear the next part of the speech, you will understand how important this setup for the speech was there, because Mrs. Montgomery is going to play a bigger role in the speech. Projector is going to play a bigger role in the speech. And so in the story, the first and the most important part is circumstances. You have to introduce the circumstances of the story, where the story takes place, because when you create that scene, audience literally get into that scene. Because as Mark Brown always says, take them into your scene and allow them to travel with you on that journey. So the purpose of the speech is not to narrate or tell a speech, tell a story. The purpose of the speech is to make the audience feel and live that story. And that's what Mike Carr done by setting up that beautiful scene in the beginning itself. Let's watch ahead.
Things started looking strange. The film slowed down, and when it picked back up, it made a sound like and it looked like it was blinking. Then the sheriff was talking to us from the side of the screen. The blinking started again with a loud noise. Ooh, everything went blank.
My God, this is one of my favorite part of the speech. I don't know how many of us could relate to it. I could relate to it immediately because we have experienced projector going like this many times in our life when we used to watch movies on projector. Millennials, in olden times, there used to be a projector which used to project movies on the screen or on the wall, and many times when the projector gets stuck, it exactly used to make sounds like this. The screen exactly goes like this and goes blank for some time. This is the masterpiece. Now, excellent part of his speech is how beautifully he used his camera of laptop or his desktop as a prop in his speech. It's an amazing thinking, an amazing innovation. He could have stood there and said that the projector was not working. He not only gave people who have experienced this thing during our old days, he also explained to millennials who may not have seen these kind of challenges, but after he has created this scene live, they could easily understand what exactly happened when the projector gets stuck. Let's move ahead.
I ran to the front and I turned off the projector. I opened it up. Something smelled like it was burning. Mrs. Montgomery, I said, can I try to fix this?
Look at the use of pauses when he opened the projector. Pauses brings life to the speech. Pauses allow people to reflect. And as soon as he said, when I opened the projector, and gave that pause. Many times when we have opened something which have gone bad, to fix it, we have felt exactly the same way, the way Mike has shown to us. Beautiful use of VAKS technique, visual, auditory, kinesthetic, and smell. Here we could visually see what was happening. He created a scene. He showed us that he was opening the projector. Auditory, we could easily hear him, what he was saying. And people who are kinesthetic kind of people, They can feel his pain. And when he talks about the smell, the people who enjoy smelling, they could also can connect. Now, it is not necessary to use all the 4 things in your speech, but whatever you can use, it will bring a lot of creativity and power to your speech.
After school, she said, an hour after the final bell rang, I had disassembled the entire projector all over the floor. I was beginning to put it back together when the librarian came strolling through. "What are you doing?" she almost screamed at me. "Who told you you could do this?" "I did," said Mrs. Montgomery. The librarian, though, zeroed in on me. "This is school property, and it better work when you get it all back together again. If it doesn't work, your parents are going to have to pay for that."
Now, when you look at this scene, he has been introducing characters in the scene. He was not only introducing characters, but he was also creating that conversation among various characters. I love the way he has placed characters on the stage. If I'm facing audience in his speech, he has put himself on the left side. He has placed Miss Montgomery on the center, and on the right-hand side, the librarian. Every time he's delivering a dialogue of a character, he is going exactly at the same place so that audience not only can listen, but they can also feel that who is speaking from where. And all the 3 characters is depicting different emotions. Emotions of calmness by Mrs. Montgomery, emotions of anxiety and making mistake by Mike, emotions of getting angry by librarian. Now, the most important part of any speech or any story is conflict. When there is no conflict in the story, then there is no fun. And as soon as the librarian comes and tells him, if it doesn't get fixed, your parents are going to pay for it. That is the conflict in the story. Now, this is where audience is totally with the speaker that, wow, at least I was with him. What is going to happen now? I could relate to many of my experiences where I have messed up in school and a teacher came and said that now your parents have to take care of it. Common connects. All through speech, there are a lot of commonalities that we were able to connect. And as Mark Brown always says, your stories don't have to be sensational. They have to be sincere.
Now, my parents did not have a lot of money. If I went home and told them they had to replace a projector at school, I would have been better off in the hands of that bad guy, Bad English. And so with focused energy, I started putting the projector back together. After 2 hours, it was whole. And Mrs. Montgomery said, "Let's try it." I reached up and I flipped the on switch. And there, out in front of us, projected onto the screen in all of its glory, was nothing. Nothing. The projector was dead. Mrs. Montgomery put her arm.
Now, how beautifully he brought in that surprise element that the projector is fixed. He is ready to switch on the projector. And the way he started off, I was feeling that the projector will be okay. My friends, to create a masterpiece, you have to take that tension to next level. And here he takes that conflict, elevate that conflict by saying that blank screen. So the first part is he introduced a conflict, and in the second part he elevated that conflict so beautifully.
Arm around me, and she said, "It's okay that you took the risk to try to fix it. The victory is not in the result. The victory is in the try."
My mentors have always said, don't tell us, show us. And this is what exactly Mike has done here. He was not telling us that what Mrs. Montgomery has told him. He actually literally showed us. We could visually see that Mrs. Montgomery is placing her hand on Mike's shoulder and telling him that victory is not in the result, victory is in trying. Now he does two things here. He not only introduced the phrase in the speech. I always say phrase that pays. You can see my video that is called Phrase That Pays in my YouTube channel. Second, he introduced the guru in the speech. In Sanskrit, gu means darkness and ru means dispelling of darkness. And guru means any person who comes into your life and dispel that darkness. And in speeches, as most of our mentors and most of great speakers have said, you cannot be the guru of the speech. There has to be a third person who has to be guru in the speech. And in life also we have seen, whenever we have brought in some change, some transformation, there is always because of something that we have experienced through a third person or a book or an event or family member. So the guru can be inanimate object or an animate object. It could be anybody, but you cannot be guru. And here the guru is Mrs. Montgomery.
But I still had to tell my parents. When I got home, I snuck in and I thought, if I just hide in my closet, they'll forget I exist. But then I heard from the kitchen, Mike, come in. I walked in and I said, Mom, Dad, there's something I have to tell you. I love you and I am scared of sheriffs. I don't know. I ran to my room. I choked. I couldn't think of anything to say. I thought I'll tell them tomorrow. I crawled on my bed and I looked up at the ceiling and I thought, how do I get to Norway? Now, I know there are people from Norway in the audience, and can I just tell you, I don't know why Norway was my only safe haven on this planet at that point. Maybe I thought that Norway had made a deal with the UN, that they would not let crazy librarians come into their country, but at that night, I drifted off to a very restless sleep, dreaming of swimming to Norway.
Wow, what a beautiful depiction of emotions by Mike here. If you look at the story that he's building around, he has introduced his parents. There's a lot of conflicts going into his mind. What should I do about the projector? Because librarian is going to kill me tomorrow. And we all have experienced these kind of situations. So today, if you look back, those things look very small. When we were in school and we have done a mistake or something wrong has happened to us, the whole night, I have experienced myself, the whole night we were not able to sleep. Or we always think what our parents will think about us. We wanted to tell them, but we always avoid telling them. And he actually depicted those emotions through that self-talk. And when somebody is depicting those emotions through self-talk, we could easily relate what was going into speaker's mind because we all have gone through it. Again, common connects, and that has made him his audience with him throughout the speech, because first he created conflict, then he elevated conflict, then he brought this conflict into his mind and it's continuously going up. And we were also thinking, what is going to happen tomorrow?
I was awakened with a jolt when my alarm went off the next morning. As I got ready for the day, I was sick to my stomach. When I got to school.
Have you ever felt that feeling when you are going to school in the morning and you're sick to stomach? There's some butterflies in your stomach and then you don't want to go to school because something wrong is going to happen. I think it's a deliberate attempt to bring in these feelings so that audience can be with him throughout the speech.
I knew my time was up. I slunk to the library to find Mrs. Landon sitting there reading her newspaper. She was drinking out of this coffee mug. That's concerning.
He has continuously escalated his feelings and emotions of conflict in his mind. Even now, when he has reached school, he's showing us that cup of dragon and comparing it with the librarian that this guy is going to kill him today.
I approached her and I told her the final fate of her projector. She slowly started looking up at me. Her lips started curling. Then she leaned forward and said, "Fine." What just happened?
Wow, what a masterpiece. He used the VAKS so beautifully. And then when she says, fine, what a change of emotions. And exactly like that, I could feel when things get solved next day in school, feeling of joy he displayed, anybody could relate to.
I'm still alive. I could not believe it. My failure had not killed me. And yours will not kill you.
So friends, here comes the message of the speech. My failure has not killed me and your failure will not kill you. Now, look at the beautiful pause he has taken between two sentences. My failure has not killed me. Then he paused. And then he said, and your failure will not kill you. And beautiful use of eye contact on the screen as if he is talking to me.
What was it that Mrs. Montgomery said? The victory is not in the result. The victory is in the try. Ever since then, I have walked through life.
Here he again reinforced his message by repeating the phrase, the victory is not in the result, the victory is in try. First he delivers the message that your failure is not going to kill you, and reinforce the message by using the phrase that he has introduced in the first part of the speech.
Life with a little librarian Landon sitting on this shoulder and a Mrs. Montgomery sitting on this shoulder. When I tried and gave my very first speech, which was a train wreck, Mrs. Landon told me, you should never try that again. But Mrs. Montgomery reminded me that the failure had taught me lessons that could be a springboard to future success. And she was right. But her words ring even more true for you.
After delivering powerful message with audience, he beautifully depicts the two main characters of the speech, the librarian and Mrs. Montgomery. And when he says librarian here and Mrs. Montgomery here, we can literally visualize these two characters sitting on his shoulders and communicating with him. It's like when we want to do something in life, there are two characters in our mind. One will say, you can do it. Second will say, no, you can't do it. And whom you should listen to at that point of time will actually help you to achieve the results.
And let me tell you why I know this. For years, Toastmasters has been the place where leaders are made. You are here in some way to increase your leadership skill. And this world desperately needs leaders who will create fertile soil for innovation to grow. Toastmasters is a great example. When COVID hit this year, they could have said, no, we're just going to cancel the contest, we'll cancel the convention, and we'll pick it up again next year. But instead, they decided to try something new, this virtual experience. And yes, there have been glitches, but that's what innovation is like. Glitches happen. And the lessons that they have learned take us miles beyond those organizations that just canceled. If you want to lead people.
Before I go into the last bit of his speech, I really appreciate Mike here by bringing an example of Toastmasters. You know why? Because we all in the last 7 days are going through that glitches because of the new technology being used by Toastmasters for this virtual convention. Things were not working, things were getting delayed. We all were going through it. And it's a beautiful way to talk about something which the whole audience can connect with immediately. And this example reinforces the message that when you do something new, when you do something first time, it's okay to mess up. But ultimately, you grow with that.
To fix persistent problems, someday, somewhere, somebody is going to have to try something new, and you as the leader have the opportunity to encourage that effort that might fail, for a chance to find the future. The victory is in the try.
Here, he gives us a straight call for action. If you want to lead people who fix persistent problems and somebody tries something somewhere and fails, it's your responsibility to encourage so that you get a chance to find the future. Very clear call of action for all of us.
Be a Montgomery leader. Encourage risk. Try new things. The victory is not in the result, my friends. The victory is in the try. Contest chair.
In his last line also, he is motivating us to encourage risks and try new things. Congratulations, Mike, for winning this World Championship of Public Speaking. These are purely my views. I'm sure I have missed many things while looking at his speech. I will also go through his speech again, and I would like you also to go through not only his speech, all other speakers' speech to see what we can learn from these champions. So Mike has everything in his speech. He has beautiful curiosity. He had created those circumstances. He had lovely stories, characters, dialogues, conflict, elevating that conflict. A guru who dispels darkness and his transformation. And finally, he delivered a lovely message, a very common message that we hear everything, but the beautiful way he delivers this message is going to be long lasting in my mind, and I'm sure in your mind too. Friends, keep watching my channel. I hope you enjoy this video. If you have not subscribed to Deepak Sharma Speaks, subscribe it. We will keep on learning together and keep on growing together. Thank you so much.